On my daughter's 5th birthday, Xiangwan posted a photo on her social media with the caption, "The little one was fussing for her daddy at bedtime, and her wonderful father dropped everything at work and rushed right over." The man lying in bed with her in that picture was none other than my husband, Zhu Xingjing. I stared at the message I had received just 10 minutes ago. "Something came up at the office tonight. Don't wait up for me. You and Mian Mian." I gave it a like. Then dialed my divorce lawyer's number. 1. By the time Zhu Xingjing got home, it was already 2 in the morning. Blinded by the harsh light, my first instinct was to cover my daughter's eyes. Zhu Xingjing leaned against the doorframe. "Honey, I'm home. Let Mian Mian get up. I'll celebrate her birthday with her." I used to care so much about these little family traditions, whether it's a birthday, holiday, anniversary, or a kindergarten event. Zhu Xingjing is always asked to attend whenever possible. I don't want Mian Mian to end up like me, only seeing her father through a phone screen. But now, I smoothed the blanket and said in a flat tone, "No, thanks." A flicker of impatience crossed Zhu Xingjing's face. "Tang Yu, I only went over today to put Hao Yu to sleep. Don't get the wrong idea. It's because you're always so suspicious that I didn't dare tell you the truth. I'm not mistaken, and I won't be suspicious or paranoid anymore. If you don't have anything to do, go to your own room. Don't disturb Mian Mian's sleep. She has school tomorrow." Upon hearing my reply, Zhu Xingjing let out a cold laugh. "Suit yourself. Just don't turn around later and say I was absent from Mian Mian's upbringing." I turned off the light and gently patted my daughter, who had been stirred in my arms. His absence didn't matter anymore, because Mian Mian's birthday wish this year was, "I don't want to see Daddy anymore." The next morning, after breakfast, Zhu Xingjing didn't head straight out as usual. Instead, he stayed seated and began watching the morning news. Just as we were about to leave, he suddenly picked up his keys, walked over, and patted Mian Mian's head. "I'll take you today." The words were for our daughter, but his eyes were fixed intently on me. 2 years ago, when Mian Mian had just started kindergarten, Zhu Xingjing drove her to and from school every single day, but after Xiangwan arrived, he started leaving home earlier and earlier, claiming his company's morning meetings had been moved up and he no longer had time to drop the child off. I believed him completely, until 3 months ago when Mian Mian transferred schools, and I saw it with my own eyes at the kindergarten gate. There he was, a man who should have been at the office, bending down to lift a little boy out of the back seat. So it wasn't that he didn't have time to take his daughter to school. He just had more important things to do. That night, we had a terrible fight. From the next day on, Mian Mian never again made a fuss about wanting her dad to take her to school. Even though we had decided to divorce, Zhu Xingjing was still Mian Mian's father after all. After a moment's thought, I didn't voice my refusal. The corner of the man's lips lifted slightly as he bent down and scooped Mian Mian up into his arms. When I opened the car door, I froze. The back seat was piled high with stuff. An Ultraman water bottle, a wooden bow and arrow, a lady's shawl. Behind the seat, a family portrait was hanging. Noticing my gaze, Zhu Xingjing's expression shifted slightly. "Xiangwan just hung this up on a whim, saying it would cheer Hao Yu up. Don't get upset over something so trivial again." In the past, I would have smashed the family portrait to pieces, then tearfully demanded Zhu Xingjing tell me what Mian Mian and I even meant to him. But now, I just nodded. "That's a good picture." Zhu Xingjing looked at me with a strange expression. "Aren't you angry?" Angry, maybe I should be, but for some reason, I felt nothing inside, not even a ripple. I even felt a little like laughing. How could Zhu Xingjing, known for his shrewdness, fail to see through such a clumsy trick? He simply didn't care. "Hurry up and get in the car. Mian Mian is going to be late." Hearing my urging, Zhu Xingjing pressed his thin lips together and opened the driver's side door. Just as I was about to pick up Mian Mian and get in the car, Zhu Xingjing's phone rang. "I have a good daddy, a good daddy." From the other end of the line, a little boy was crying his heart out. "Daddy, Daddy, where did you go? Don't you want Hao and Mommy anymore?" After hanging up, Zhu Xingjing didn't even glance at us and hurriedly got into the car. "Hao Yu is crying for me. Let the driver take you today." The black Maybach sped off into the distance, worried about Mian Mian. I crouched down to comfort her. "Daddy's busy today. Next time, when he's free, we'll all take you to school together." "Okay." A maturity beyond her years surfaced on Mian Mian's face. "Daddy won't ever be free. All his time is for WN Hao Yu and his mom, too." In the evening, Ju Xingjing called, "You, I'll be home late today, how you is sick." "Okay," I agreed too quickly, and Ju Xingjing's explanation caught in his throat. He thought I was being moody, and a note of displeasure crept into his voice. "Tang Yu, don't be difficult." With that, he hung up the phone. 10 minutes later, a few text messages came through. "Sorry, Tang Yu, How Yu has been really attached to his dad lately. But honestly, he's something else. How could he just leave you and Mian Mian the moment he got my call? I'll give him a piece of my mind. Don't be upset." It ended with a face with hand over mouth emoji. It's Xiangwan. These texts feel less like an apology and more like a declaration of war. I have no interest in fighting her over a man, so I just deleted the messages and blocked her. Not long after, Ju Xingjing called again. "Tang Yu, what on earth are you making a fuss about? Is this how you respond when Xiangwan apologizes to you?" Faint sobs of a woman and a child could be heard on the other end of the line. I remained silent. After a long pause, a man's low voice broke the quiet. "Tang Yu, how could you become like this? I'm so disappointed in you." It was clearly Xiong Wn who started it with me, but the moment she starts crying, Ju Xingjing pins all the blame on me, as if I'm some kind of villain. Once I got home, I started packing my bags. When Ju Xingjing called, I was consulting with my lawyer. In the divorce, I'm entitled to at least 30% of the Ju family shares, and with our living conditions being comparable, our daughter would most likely be granted to the mother. My last shred of hesitation was gone. Clothes, bags, jewelry, and Mian Mian's favorite toys, all of these need to be packed. When the final box arrived, I felt a momentary daze. My hands trembled slightly as I broke the dusty wax seal. It was a box overflowing with love letters, from Ju Xingjing, aged 17 to 22. I opened the letter on top. It began with, "Dear 27-year-old Tang Yu, this is 17-year-old Ju Xingjing. This is the first love letter I've written for you. As we agreed, we will open this letter together in 10 years. We must be married by now, maybe we even have a lovely child." The phone rang. On the other end was the 27-year-old Ju Xingjing. "Tang Yu, did you know Xiangwan has run away from home with the child? If anything happens to them, you'll have me to answer to." My eyes fell on the final lines of the letter, signed, "Your Ju Xingjing, who will love Yaya forever." A sharp pang shot through my heart, as if something inside had quietly shattered. I hung up the phone and threw the box into the fireplace. 3. Ju Xingjing didn't come home that night. I didn't desperately call him like I used to, crying and swearing I wouldn't make things difficult for Xiangwan anymore. Our daughter didn't ask about her father either. She just quietly took the photo of her and Ju Xingjing while I was packing. Ju Xingjing and I fell into a cold war just like that. It lasted until a week later, when Mian Mian's kindergarten required a parent consent form to be signed, which involved facial recognition. I tried calling Ju Xingjing, only to find out I had been blocked. Left with no other choice, I had to take the consent form and go to his office to find him. I hadn't been waiting long before I saw a familiar figure walk into Ju Xingjing's office. The assistant pouring water looked a bit uneasy. "Sis, Mr. Ju has given instructions that Sister Xiangwan is free to come and go from his office. To be honest, I'm the one who caused Xiangwan to have this privilege. Back then, I used to bring Ju Xingjing his meals, we'd eat and chat, and a single conversation could easily last an hour. On one occasion, Xiangwan came to see him, but was stopped by his assistant. When Ju Xingjing saw me out after his meal, Xiangwan and Wn Haoyu's lips were already pale from the cold. That was the first time Ju Xingjing lost his temper with me. He was furious, saying my daily meal deliveries were a huge waste of his time. The assistant who had stopped Xiangwan was also fired. From that day on, everyone knew that Xiong Wan was the one who held Ju Xingjing's heart. I never set foot in the company again. With a smile and a nod to the assistant, I stood up and walked straight to the office. Ju Xingjing was indeed in a meeting, and he looked surprised to see me. "What are you doing here?" Xiangwan was perched on the arm of his chair, the two of them so close they were nearly touching. Noticing my gaze, he hesitated. Words caught in his throat. "Tang Yu, don't get the wrong idea. It's just that Xiangwan happens to know a bit about this project." So, I nodded and handed him the tablet. "Mian Mian needs a parent's signature for the field trip. Is that the only reason you came? What else would it be?" The man's entire demeanor darkened. I didn't know why, but from my understanding of Ju Xingjing, he was in a foul mood. Xiangwan scoffed lightly. What kind of signature is so troublesome? Xingjing. Miss Tang just wants to make up with you. You've been staying at my place for days now. It's time you went back to see Mian Mian. Zhu Xingjing's brow smoothed out. He tossed the tablet onto the coffee table, a playful smirk curling his lips. Tang Yu, so now you've learned to use the child as an excuse. Apologize to Xiangwan, otherwise, I won't be signing this. Hearing something like that before would have made me furious at Zhu Xingjing for not caring about his own daughter, and even more furious that he was doing it for Xiong Wan. But now, I'm not angry with anyone, I'm just thinking that without a parent's signature, Mian Mian won't be able to go on the field trip. She'll be so disappointed. I looked at Zhu Xingjing, and at Xiong Wan still perched on the arm of his chair, then turned and walked out of the office without a backward glance. At worst, I'll just tell the teacher that Mian Mian doesn't have a father. I had only taken a few steps when a clear, cool male voice rang out. If Miss Tang doesn't mind, perhaps I could take care of it for you. It was the man from Zhu Xingjing's office just now, after all. I've been observing Miss Tang's family affairs for quite some time, only then did I take a proper look at him. His immaculate black suit exuded a severe, almost ascetic air, his features were sharp and cool, giving off an unmistakable aura of wealth and status. I handed the tablet over directly. The authentication went through quickly, and 3 bold, sweeping characters appeared on the screen. Huiriji. 4. The divorce papers are ready. I unilaterally ended this Cold War and told Zhu Xingjing to come home tonight. When I went to pick up Mian Mian from kindergarten, his Maybach was already waiting in the drop-off zone. The window rolled down, revealing Xiangwan's smug grin from the passenger seat. Miss Tang, you're here to pick up your child too. This is a prestigious kindergarten. How can you still be wearing last year's coat? Aren't you worried your child will be laughed at? I couldn't be bothered to engage with her. So I shifted a little further away. Xiangwan looked at the man in the driver's seat, her face full of grievance. Xingjing, did I say something wrong again? Miss Tang seems upset. Yet, Zhu Xingjing uncharacteristically didn't reply. He stared fixedly at my thin coat, his tone stiff. Tang Yu, it's windy out here. Let's get in the car. I took another step back. I don't know when it started. But a distance had grown between us, so much so that even a simple word of concern from him now felt strained. As we neared the entrance, 2 kids in the line started scuffling. Frowning, I looked over and saw that one of them was Mian Mian. I rushed over and pulled them apart. Only then realizing the other kid in the fight was Wan Haoyu. He froze for a second when he saw me, then immediately plopped down on the ground and started wailing. War, the auntie hit me, it hurts so much. Zhu Xingjing and Xiong Wan hurried over. Xiong Wan scooped up her son, her face full of indignation. Tang Yu, even if you don't like me, you shouldn't take your anger out on a child, it's just 2 kids roughhousing. Is there really any need for you to get so worked up? Zhu Xingjing also looked at me with disapproval, completely forgetting that Mian Mian was his own biological daughter. The teacher wore a troubled expression. Mian Mian's mom, Haoyu's mom, the 2 kids just saw Mr. Zhu and both claimed he was their dad. They started arguing and ended up fighting. It's after school now, and the area is full of parents picking up their kids. What a mess. Who fights over a dad? Could it be the wife and the mistress? That man looks well off. Maybe the kids were just showing off and making things up, and it just so happened the other kid heard them. So young and already a gold digger. I wonder what they're teaching her at home. Wan Haoyu was still wailing, clinging to Zhu Xingjing's neck and crying daddy, over and over. As for Mian Mian, she just held my hand tightly, her eyes fixed unblinkingly on Zhu Xingjing. The other children were also curious. Uncle, whose dad are you really? Tell me now, someone who claims to be a father so carelessly should apologize, you know. Zhu Xingjing opened his mouth. I am Mion. At that very moment, Xiangwan gently tugged at his sleeve, her eyes filled with pleading. In an instant, I knew. Zhu Xingjing was wavering, just like countless times before. The moment Xiangwan spoke up, my daughter and I became his second choice. I gritted my teeth and reminded him in a cold voice. Zhu Xingjing, your answer right now will affect Mian Mian for the rest of her life. Think carefully before you speak. The man's body stiffened slightly. His downcast eyes betrayed no emotion as he spoke in a voice soft yet audible to everyone present. I'm Haoyu's father, young man. I think you've got the wrong person. My heart clenched, as if struck by a sledgehammer, the pain so sharp it nearly brought tears to my eyes. This is our daughter." The onlooking parents began to criticize Mian Mian. How could this little girl falsely claim someone as her father and then hit his real son? Exactly. The truth is out, yet she still won't apologize. She has no manners at all. She's just jealous of their wealth and wants to be the daughter of a rich family. That mother of hers doesn't look like a decent person either, all dolled up and acting shady. She's probably in that line of work, teaching her daughter to call random men daddy on purpose, just to latch onto some rich guy. Zhu Xingjing, have you no humanity at all? Before the words had fully left her mouth, a sharp pain shot through her palm. Mian Mian bit her lower lip, her grip frighteningly strong, the light in her eyes rapidly dimming to a dull gray. "Mom, just forget it, then." She bowed woodenly to Zhu Xingjing. "I'm sorry, sir, I mistook you for someone else." 5. In the dessert shop, I held my daughter close, my heart aching for her. "Mian Mian, he is your father. I don't expect you to love him, but I also don't want you to grow up filled with hatred." What answered me was a flat, childish voice. "Mom, I don't have a father." He admitted it himself, his WN Haoyu's dad. I felt the divorce papers in my bag and booked a flight to Harbor City for tonight. On my phone was an apology message from Zhu Xingjing, sent 10 minutes ago. I'm sorry, but Haoyu comes from a single-parent family. In that situation just now, I had no choice but to lie. I'll go explain everything to the teacher tomorrow. I won't let our daughter be wronged." This was the first time he had ever apologized to me about Xiangwan, but the pity was, I no longer needed it, and neither did Mian Mian. One last trip back to grab our documents and a change of clothes. And we can say our final goodbyes to this city. I thought the house would be empty, but not only was someone home, there were quite a few people. In the living room, WN Haoyu was holding Mian Mian's favorite toy, sitting in her special little armchair and watching TV. Zhu Xingjing and Xiong WN came out of the kitchen carrying dishes, and they both froze when they saw Mian Mian and me. I frowned. "We're not even divorced yet, and he's already bringing her into our home," Zhu Xingjing explained. Xiangwan felt she needed to apologize for what happened today. She was worried a simple apology wouldn't seem sincere enough, so she wanted to cook a few of your favorite dishes herself. I let out a cold laugh. "I don't think I'm brave enough to try the food you two made." Knowing he was in the wrong, Zhu Xingjing, for once, didn't lose his temper. He said to Mian Mian and WN Haoyu, "Go play in your room for a while. Your father and I need to talk." As soon as the children went inside, Xiangwan stepped forward to apologize. Whether by accident or on purpose, she ended up standing side by side with Zhu Xingjing. "Miss Tang, what happened today was entirely my fault. I blame myself for not correcting Haoyu sooner, for letting him believe Xingjing was his biological father all this time. If it truly bothers you, I'll take Haoyu and leave S City. We won't come back to disturb you and Xingjing ever again." As she spoke, she began to cry, looking at the woman before me. I remembered the first time we met. Back then, her husband had just died. She was there with her child, kneeling before us, weeping so pitifully. Thinking back on it now, that was probably the moment Zhu Xingjing began to fall for her, a woman with raven hair and red lips, kneeling gracefully before him, declaring him to be her sole support for the rest of her life, who could remain unmoved. A faint smile touched my lips as I produced the divorce papers. "You don't have to leave, I'll go." "Zhu Xingjing, let's get a divorce. Once we're divorced, you can openly be Xiangwan's good husband and WN Haoyu's good father." Zhu Xingjing looked at me with a dark, gloomy expression, his eyes inscrutable. "Tang Yu, are you threatening me?" I nodded. "Let's just say it is." The man laughed in bitter anger. "Tang Yu, do you really think I don't have the nerve? How many times do I have to tell you? Brother WN and I grew up together. We made a vow when we were young, whoever's left behind would look after the other's family. Why do you have to be so petty about this?" I replied with the same detached calm. "That's right, I am petty. You're the magnanimous one, Mr. Zhu. Don't stoop to my level, just sign the papers, will you?" Infuriated by my indifferent attitude, Zhu Xingjing snatched the agreement. Without even glancing at it, he scrawled his signature and flung the pages at my feet. "Tang Yu, I've signed. What about you? Do you have the guts to go through with the divorce?" I picked up the agreement and was just about to speak when WN Haoyu came running out of the room, crying, "Wara, Daddy!" Mian Mian hit me. The bloody scratch on his face was particularly frightening. Zhu Xingjing glared at me, his eyes blazing with fury. Tang Yu, look at the fine daughter you've raised. Mian Mian also came out of the room. Mom, I didn't hit him. He fell down by himself. Zhu Xingjing roared. Zhu Mian Mian. You've learned to lie now. Apologize to Hao Yu this instant. Do you hear me? Mian Mian shot him a glance and said nothing. Seeing this, WN Hao Yu began to cry even louder. War, Daddy, it hurts. Zhu Xingjing looked coldly at Mian Mian. Mian Mian, Daddy doesn't like children who lie. You've really disappointed me. Mian Mian tried to say something more, but I stopped her. Zhu Xingjing, we have security cameras at home. If you want to know who's lying, we can just check the footage. Hearing this, Xiangwan's eyes flickered with panic. Uncharacteristically, she began trying to smooth things over. Let it go, let it go. It's normal for kids to roughhouse a bit. There's no need to check any cameras. Our Hao Yu is the older brother. It's no big deal if his little sister hits him a couple of times. Forget let it go. My daughter, Tang Yu, will not be wronged for nothing. You are going to watch this surveillance footage today, and that's final. Seeing my insistence, Zhu Xingjing opened the door to the surveillance room. The footage clearly showed that WN Hao Yu had tripped and fallen on his own. Xiong WN kept trying to smooth things over from the side. Xingjing, Hao Yu is just a child. He was so scared that he felt he had to lie. Maybe Mian Mian bullied him before. Why else would he act like this? Zhu Xingjing, however, paid no heed, his gaze fixed intently on the upper left corner of the surveillance monitor. In the footage, I threw a box into the fireplace, a swift, decisive motion without a hint of hesitation. 6. Zhu Xingjing rushed over and grabbed my wrist, his eyes rimmed with red. Tang Yu, you burned it. How could you burn it? I looked into Zhu Xingjing's eyes. My tone calm. It's been crawling with bugs. It's filthy. If you don't want it, just burn it. I'll take Mian Mian back to Hong Kong. I'll mail you the agreement later. Watching my utterly expressionless face, Zhu Xingjing's panic became visibly apparent. He finally realized that I was truly serious about divorcing him. Yeah, I didn't really want a divorce. I thought you were just threatening me. Xiangwan was equally flustered. The forced smile on her face was almost impossible to maintain, but she still managed to speak up. Is this a tactical retreat? Miss Tang, burning a box of worthless junk, it doesn't look like it's worth anything anyway. Get lost. Xiangwan fell to the floor, staring at Zhu Xingjing in disbelief. WN Hao Yu also began to wail. Wara, Mom lied. She said once they were driven away, Dad would be all mine. I did everything Mom said, so why won't they leave? Why won't they just go? In an instant, all the color drained from the man's face. I couldn't be bothered to watch their little drama any longer. Scooping up my daughter, I headed for the door. If we didn't leave now, we'd miss our flight. Port City. My mother was waiting for me at the airport with the driver. I told you not to marry that penniless boy. With a mother like his, what kind of decent man could he possibly turn out to be? I covered Mian Mian's ears. Mom, the child is right here, my mother sighed. Her heart aching for her daughter after all. It's good to have you home. With that, she began dotingly playing with her granddaughter. 7. After a few days' rest, I took Mian Mian around to look at new kindergartens. We finally settled on a private school near home. Their security is excellent, and they host many parent-child events. Just as we were leaving after signing the papers, the principal stopped us. Ms. Tang, the child's father said he's on his way. It just so happens we have an event today. You're welcome to stay and take a look. Zhu Xingjing, I frowned. The words of refusal were on the tip of my tongue when a man's voice cut me off. The activities at this kindergarten look really fun. Want to give it a try? Mian Mian. Standing outside the door was none other than Huiji, whom I had met just last month. Seeing me a bit stunned, Huiji waved a hand in front of my face. What's the matter? Don't you recognize your child's father? After some explanation, I finally understood that Huiji's information had been entered during the student record transfer process. I felt a bit apologetic, but he just waved his hand dismissively. It's nothing. I wasn't busy anyway. I watched as his phone rang 10 times in 3 minutes. But I didn't call him out on it. Today's event was a parent-child sports day. Mian Mian chose to participate in the 3-legged race and the relay race. She was running around the field, shrieking with laughter, and it completely lifted the gloom that had been hanging over us lately. I decided to be cautious. During a break in the activities, I asked my mother to look into Huiji's background for me. Little did I know, The moment I sent over his name and photo, my mother started chuckling. This is the Hua family's boy. He used to snatch your toys all the time when you were kids. Don't you remember? It suddenly dawned on me where that sense of familiarity with Huiji came from. I grew up in Harbor City and only moved to S City with my parents after elementary school. I've rarely been back since. Come to think of it, I actually saw Huiji a few years ago at my grandfather's funeral. After it was over, I took Mian Mian home. As we walked, Mian Mian's expression suddenly darkened. I followed her gaze. In the evening light, a familiar figure stood at the front door. It was Zhu Xingjing, 8. He had followed me to Hong Kong, trailing behind Mian Mian and me as if nothing had ever happened. He seemed to be everywhere, at the kindergarten, the shopping mall, the dessert shop. Sometimes, he would even come up to say a few words, but seeing our impatient expressions, he would retreat behind us, his face full of dejection. At night, he would stand outside the Tang family's villa, and when he got tired, he would lean against the doorframe to doze off. It wasn't until half a month later, when Huiji returned from his business trip abroad and walked right past him into the Tang family's house, hearing the bodyguard say, "Mrs. Orders, Mr. Hua may enter, but you may not," he finally lost control. With red-rimmed eyes, he asked me, "Ayu, we loved each other so deeply once. Have you really forgotten it all?" I stood there, frozen. The 17-year-old Zhu Xingjing would wake up at 5 in the morning to wait for me to go to school and would tirelessly explain problems to me. At 20, Zhu Xingjing would thank me by name first from the winner's podium, and would kneel to tie my shoelaces for me in the bustling campus. At 22, Zhu Xingjing would fetch water to wash my feet every day during my pregnancy, would weep uncontrollably outside the delivery room, and would stay up all night holding our daughter to soothe her to sleep. But at 27, Zhu Xingjing would make me take a taxi home alone late at night, would shout at me over another woman, and would deny being Mian Mian's father in front of everyone. It's precisely because I haven't forgotten how we once loved each other that I cannot forgive. I told the bodyguard to throw him out, but 3 days later, he showed up at the door again. The bodyguard also knew this was Mian Mian's father, so he didn't dare to actually lay a hand on him. On the phone, Zhu Xingjing kept sending messages. "Darling, I know I was wrong. Please, I'm begging you, just see me once." A heavy rain began to fall outside, and I looked out the window. Under the dim streetlight, a man in a black suit stood motionless in the rain, staring up at my room. When he saw my silhouette, a pleading smile spread across his face. I stepped out with an umbrella. A contentious divorce would impact Tang Corporation's stock price. Persuading Zhu Xingjing to agree to an uncontested divorce was the best solution. When he saw me arrive, a light sparked in Zhu Xingjing's eyes. "Darling, you came. I knew you would. I've sent Xiangwan away. No one will ever disturb us again." With that, he pulled a small rabbit plushie from inside his coat. "Mian Mian said she wanted this before. I brought it for her. Could you give it to her?" The rain was pouring down. The man paid no mind to shielding himself, instead using his jacket to carefully protect the plushie he held. It was true Mian Mian had said she wanted it. But that was a year ago. At that moment, Zhu Xingjing was busy helping Dubian Haoyu with his enrollment paperwork and had no time for her. I took the stuffed toy, and immediately threw it on the ground. Affection that comes too late is worth less than dirt. Zhu Xingjing's face went pale, forcing a smile that looked even more pitiful than a frown. "Darling, you're still upset with me, aren't you? Please, let me explain. There's really nothing going on between me and Xiangwan. It's all her one-sided affection. She's the one who's been trying to drive a wedge between us." I let out a mocking laugh. If Zhu Xingjing hadn't given her hope, how would she have had the nerve to provoke me again and again? She deliberately called late at night to lure Zhu Xingjing away from home. She purposely placed photos of herself and Dubian Haoyu in the office, leading clueless new employees to believe she was the real Mrs. Zhu. She intentionally stuck a reserved for Wan Haoyu sign on the car door to stake her claim. Even a 5-year-old like Mian Mian could tell something was off. Yet Zhu Xingjing, the person at the center of it all, claims he doesn't know. It's just that he thinks Mian Mian and I can't live without him, so he doesn't care. I couldn't be bothered to listen to his excuses and turned to leave. "Zhu Xingjing, I'm not here to forgive you. I'm here to make things clear. Stay away from me and Mian Mian. I don't want a contested divorce, but if you force my hand, I have no problem seeing you in court." 9. Zhu Xingjing's gaze froze, the knuckles of his hand gripping the railing turning white. Darling, I will not give up custody of Mian Mian. I'll hire the best lawyer. My departing footsteps halted, and I turned my head to look at him. Zhu Xingjing thought I was wavering. A hopeful glint appeared in his eyes as he reached out to take my hand. Darling, you don't really want to leave Mian Mian either, do you, Zhu Xingjing? You leave me no choice. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Zhu Xingjing, you really are just like your mother, utterly ruthless. In an instant, the man's face turned deathly pale. Tang Yu, how could you possibly? I wouldn't have resorted to this if I had any other choice. Zhu Xingjing's mother is his taboo, and the main reason my own mother objected to our marriage back then. His mother was a hostess. When Zhu Xingjing was born, no one even knew who his father was, but with a child to care for, Mrs. Zhu decided to turn over a new leaf. She left her old life behind and took on odd jobs to support her family. Money was tight, but their days were filled with warmth and simple happiness. When Zhu Xingjing was 17, an opportunity arose to enter a competition. The combined cost of the registration fee and travel expenses added up to a significant sum. Zhu Xingjing was ready to give up on the idea, but the principal intervened, calling their home directly. That night, several people saw Zhu's mother enter the red-lit hair salon on the street corner. When the portly man emerged from the shop, Zhu Xingjing, dagger in hand, tried to charge at him, but I held him back with all my strength. The young man knelt on the ground, weeping with a raw, gut-wrenching intensity. Just as he is now, the man crouched down, face buried in his hands, and muffled sobs escaped through his fingers. Tang Yu, please don't do this to me. I'm begging you. 10. Zhu Xingjing quickly agreed to the divorce and did not seek custody of Mian Mian. I acquired 80% of Zhu Group's shares. With Mian Mian's consent, I changed her surname to Tang. Occasionally, busybodies would bring me news about Xiangwan. Zhu Xingjing gave her a sum of money and told her to leave City S and return to her hometown, but she refused. She made several scenes at the company, demanding an outrageous 20% stake in Zhu Group. Zhu Xingjing saw her for who she truly was, reported her to the police, and even got his money back. Xiangwan slunk away in disgrace. After tasting a life of luxury, she refused to settle for an ordinary job. She spent her time freeloading at parties and clinging to wealthy men, and within 6 months, she fell ill. As for Wen Haoyu, having outlived his usefulness, he was promptly shipped back to his grandmother's place in the countryside. After the divorce, Zhu Xingjing would visit Mian Mian in Hong Kong once a month, hoping to mend their father-daughter relationship. Unfortunately, he would return dejected every time. Mian Mian would only last half a day out with him before fussing to go home, and she never called him dad. I asked her about it once. Mian Mian said that every time she wanted to say it, she would remember what happened that day at kindergarten, and the word dad just wouldn't come out. After Mian Mian graduated from kindergarten, Huiji proposed to me, but I didn't agree. Marriage is a cage. I've only just stopped being Mrs. Zhu. I don't want to become Mrs. Hu right away. I arranged a 1-year leave of absence from school for Mian Mian and took her traveling around the world. The snow-capped mountains of Lhasa, the northern lights of Iceland, and the sunsets along the Seine. Listening to the wind and watching the clouds, I wanted to gently soothe her wounded heart. I wanted her to know that the world is vast, and her life holds just as many possibilities. There's no need to dwell on the past. After I returned, I began taking over the Tang family business. Everyone said my father had lost his mind, entrusting the company to a pampered young lady like me. That was until the shareholders' meeting, where I exposed several senior figures for embezzling company funds. Using that as grounds, I purged a group of top executives. Then, leveraging my years of experience living in S-City, I launched a new product line that quickly captured the market. That's when they realized I had come prepared. In the world of business, you sometimes run into people you knew from before. They say Zhu Xingjing has become a complete work machine these days. The only time he shows any emotion is when someone mentions me or Mian Mian. What's the point? Back in the day, you two were the model family everyone in our circle envied. In the end, he got involved with another man's wife and child, and it ended up destroying his own family. I heard Mian Mian still refuses to call him dad to this day. I just smiled and didn't respond, but in my mind, I was thinking, the meeting's been postponed, looks like I can't pick up the kids again. With my parents traveling abroad, I had no choice but to call Huiji and ask for his help. He knew the drill perfectly. After picking up Mian Mian, he came straight to the office. After dinner, he gave us a ride home. Mian Mian dashed upstairs the moment we arrived. Kids grow up and prefer their own space these days. In the courtyard, it was just Huiji and me left. He was wearing a grey suit today, which made him look even more aloof and distinguished. He asked, half jokingly, "Tang Yu, if I proposed to you right now, would you say no?" I let out a sigh. "Huiji, I don't plan on ever getting married. I can wait." His brow lowered slightly, his profile cast in shadow, making his expression unreadable. To be fair, Huiji was an excellent marriage prospect, the sole heir to the Hua family, handsome, with an exceptional demeanor, and most importantly, he was very good to me and Mian Mian. My mother had once asked me if I truly felt nothing for him at all. I hadn't answered then. But now, looking at his bitter smile, I blinked. "But, since you're buying me dinner, perhaps you could have a room of your own at the Tang residence." The June evening breeze of Harbor City swept by. Under the moonlight, the gloom in Huiji's eyes vanished in an instant, replaced by a sparkle, and a smile he couldn't possibly suppress tugged at his lips. "Well then, thank you, Mr. Tang." The end. Story 2, When My Asthma Attacked. Zhu Jinyuan was dancing intimately with his female secretary in the center of the banquet hall. Even though I was foaming at the mouth and fell into a coma, the man still held his female secretary in his arms, whispering sweet nothings to each other and chatting and laughing merrily. On the way home, I found a diamond ring in the glove compartment of the passenger seat. Before I could say anything, Zhu Jinyuan frowned, snatched it away, and said in a cold voice, "It's not for you." I nodded and pointed to the bridal shop ahead at the intersection, saying calmly, "Please pull over and stop the car." The wedding dress I had customized before. Now that I thought about it, it was time to return it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. As soon as I walked into the bridal shop, Zhu Jinyuan got out of the car and chased after me. He threw a lady's coat at my face. "Lin Qian. Change your bad habit of being forgetful and careless." Zhu Jinyuan had a cleanliness fetish and never allowed any of my things to be left in the car. Looking at the coat on the ground, I said indifferently, "It's not mine." Hearing this, the man's expression softened. He picked up the coat without minding the dirt and folded it. I knew that the coat belonged to Jiang Meng. Every time Jiang Meng deliberately left something behind, it would trigger a hysterical quarrel between me and Zhu Jinyuan. Only this time, I didn't complain at all. I just turned around and reported my phone number to the clerk. The clerk smiled and said, "You two came at the right time. The wedding dress and suit you customized have been sewn up and you can try them on." Before I could refuse to try them on, the man who had just lost his temper with me walked into the fitting room with a cold face. 10 minutes later, I stood in front of Zhu Jinyuan wearing the wedding dress. He twitched the corner of his mouth at me. Extremely vulgar. I didn't refute him. Instead, I asked the clerk to take a photo of me. Upon hearing this, Zhu Jinyuan looked impatient and was about to put his arm around me for a photo together. At this moment, his phone rang. It was Jiang Meng's exclusive ringtone. The girl cried to him, saying that her favorite coat was missing. If a kind-hearted person could find her coat and return it immediately, she would definitely marry that person and be faithful until death. After hanging up the phone, Zhu Jinyuan left in big strides without even changing his clothes. Listening to the sound of the car driving away, I picked up the scissors and without hesitation, cut the wedding dress to pieces. At 1:30 in the morning, while I was packing my personal belongings, I received a WeChat message. It was from Zhu Jinyuan. "I'm drinking." After being in love for 8 years, it was rare for the man to take the initiative to report his whereabouts. Looking at the cleaning gloves on my hands, I didn't reply. After cleaning up the garbage, I took a hot shower and fell asleep as soon as I touched the bed. When Zhu Jinyuan came home the next day, he happened to run into me going out to take out the garbage. He looked at me with a strange expression. "Is your phone broken?" Seeing me shake my head, the man instinctively furrowed his brows. I knew why he asked that. In the past, when he stayed out too late, I would send messages and call him without getting tired of it. But last night, his phone was eerily quiet. When I was about to walk outside, Zhu Jinyuan asked again, "Lin Qian, where are the group photos on the wall?" Looking down at the garbage bag, I was about to tell the truth when his phone vibrated, bumping into my shoulder. The man pressed the voice button and walked inside while talking. "Don't worry, little one, I'll send it to you as soon as it's done." Hearing the sound of running water coming from the bathroom, I continued downstairs to take out the garbage. When I came back upstairs after taking out the garbage, I had a hypoglycemic episode. I returned home sweating profusely, picked up the fried egg and toast on the table, and took a bite. Then I heard Ju Jinyuan's voice full of resentment. "Lin Qian, are you reincarnated from a starving ghost?" Watching the man throw the toast I had bitten into, along with the plate, into the trash can, I stared blankly at him and asked, "I've cooked for you for 8 years, when I have a hypoglycemic episode. Don't I even deserve a bite of the breakfast you made?" Ju Jinyuan's eyes were cold and hard. "You uneducated thing. Taking something without asking is stealing." He put on his suit and slammed the door as he left, facing a new round of cold violence initiated by Ju Jinyuan. I instinctively picked up my phone and opened his WeChat. I found that he had changed his background picture. It was a cute photo of Jiang Meng wearing cat ears. I gave it a thumbs up and casually removed him from the top of my chat list. At noon during work, I had an appointment with a real estate agent to look at a house. As soon as I walked into the elevator, I ran into Ju Jinyuan and Jiang Meng. Jiang Meng had her hair in disarray, and Ju Jinyuan was tying a ponytail for her. Seeing me appear, Jiang Meng immediately put her hands on her hips and pouted, complaining to me, "Sister Lin Qian, you came at the right time. Look at brother Jinyuan. He keeps pulling my hair all day long. He's like a little boy who hasn't grown up. He's so annoying." Before I could speak, Ju Jinyuan gently pinched the tip of Jiang Meng's nose and flirted, "Little one, if you tell lies, your nose will grow longer." Making Jiang Meng's face turn red, the man finally looked at me with mercy. "Lin Qian, it's rare to run into each other. Let's go have a meal together." We had worked in different companies in the same commercial building for 5 years. Ju Jinyuan had never asked me to have lunch during the lunch break, and Jiang Meng would post every lunch that Ju Jinyuan accompanied her to have on social media every day. Remembering this, I smiled and said, "You two go ahead, I still have something to do." Unexpectedly, I would refuse. The next second, Ju Jinyuan's face turned unpleasant. At that moment, the elevator suddenly got stuck and fell into darkness. Turning on the flashlight on my phone, I saw that Ju Jinyuan was holding Jiang Meng in his arms and soothing her softly. Before long, the elevator returned to normal. When we reached the first floor, Ju Jinyuan offered to give me a ride. Before I could speak, Jiang Meng suddenly fainted. Seeing this, the man pushed me aside regardless and carried Jiang Meng on his back and rushed to the hospital. Silently picking up my phone with a cracked screen, I hailed a taxi and started looking at the house. In the evening, Ju Jinyuan personally brought a dessert to my workstation. Half an hour ago, I saw Jiang Meng post a new update. "Loving someone is like raising a flower. Baby can't finish it at all." The accompanying picture was a whole table of French desserts. I thanked him but didn't open the dessert box. There was a trace of confusion in Ju Jinyuan's eyes. "Lin Qian, why are you being so polite to me?" I didn't answer him directly. I just said, "If there's nothing else, I'm going to print some documents." When I came back after printing my resignation application, Ju Jinyuan had already left. He left a sticky note. He asked me to go upstairs and find him after I was done. I tore off the sticky note and threw it away along with the dessert. I walked into my boss's office and submitted my resignation. My boss tried to persuade me to stay for a long time. Seeing that I was determined to leave, he finally accepted my resignation letter. According to the process, I could leave after finishing this week's work. At 10 o'clock that night, Ju Jinyuan called me while I was at a dinner party. A male colleague accidentally answered the phone. When it was my turn to answer, Ju Jinyuan's tone was terrifyingly cold. "Lin Qian, where are you in the middle of the night?" I replied to him, "Outside. Send me your location. I'll come pick you up now." After saying that, the man hung up the phone directly. After sending the location, I stayed until the store closed. I didn't wait for Ju Jinyuan. I opened Jiang Meng's WeChat moments and, as expected, saw the news that she was sick and getting an 4 drip. I took a taxi home alone, washed up, and went to bed. At a little past 3 o'clock in the middle of the night, Ju Jinyuan, looking tired and dusty, shook me awake vigorously. He said to me coldly, "Lin Qian, I'm hungry, cook me a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons. He didn't like shepherd's purse, and he didn't like wontons either. I knew that the one who wanted to eat them was Jiang Meng. I tried to pull away Zhu Jinyuan's hand, but I touched the scar on the back of his hand. Back then, when the school auditorium caught fire, if it weren't for Zhu Jinyuan, I might have already become a corpse. Exchanging the favor of saving my life for a bowl of shepherd's purse wontons, I actually got the better deal. Seeing that I changed my clothes without saying a word and was about to go out, Zhu Jinyuan grabbed my arm. Rarely, his voice was filled with unease. Or we can just wait until dawn to make it. Anyway, I interrupted him and asked softly, besides wontons, is there anything else she wants to eat? After a moment of silence, Zhu Jinyuan let go of my hand. He said, no. As the sky was getting slightly bright, the man stood at the door holding a thermal food container and said to me, Lin Qian, I have to go abroad next week. I'll squeeze out some time this Saturday to have a meal with your parents and discuss our marriage. Before he could finish, I directly refused. No need. Zhu Jinyuan was obviously taken aback. What do you mean by that? I smiled and lied. They're traveling abroad and haven't come back yet. The man stared at me intently, as if he still had something to say. Fortunately, his phone rang. For this reason, he couldn't wait to close the door. On Friday, the day of my resignation, as soon as I walked out of the company, I was pulled into the car by Zhu Jinyuan without any explanation. In a high-end restaurant, Zhu Jinyuan was cutting the steak for me while asking me, which wine do you want to drink? I was idly sliding through my phone and said casually, you can decide. My absent-mindedness made the man's handsome face turn slightly gloomy. Who are you chatting with? No one. Even though he got my answer, the man still snatched my phone away. After looking through it for a while, his eyes were dark and he asked me, when did you change your screen wallpaper? For all these years we had been together. My screen wallpaper had always been a photo of him and me. Now it had been changed to a photo of the puppy my parents were raising. Too lazy to answer this question. I simply got up and went to the restroom. When I came back, Zhu Jinyuan was no longer there. Suddenly, all the lights in the hall went out. The waiter pushed a cart with flowers and a cake and slowly walked towards me. Not long after the cake cart stopped at the next table, my phone lit up. It was a birthday blessing message. Walking out of the restaurant, I heard a familiar sweet voice. Our brother Jinyuan is so strong. You can push me higher. It was Jiang Meng sitting on the swing outside the store, excitedly screaming and asking Zhu Jinyuan to push her higher. The result of being too greedy was that she fell into the man's arms after a few pushes. They looked at each other and smiled. They hugged each other reluctantly for a while before they noticed my presence. An obvious look of disappointment flashed in Zhu Jinyuan's eyes, and he looked at me expressionlessly. Sister Lin Qian, this swing is so much fun. Come and play with us. Halfway through her words, Jiang Meng's face turned red. She shyly let down her hand that had been around Zhu Jinyuan's shoulder, still feeling reluctant. Sister Lin Qian, don't think wrongly. Brother Jinyuan only hugged me to save me. Zhu Jinyuan doted on her and ruffled Jiang Meng's black hair, looking at her affectionately. Silly girl, what's there to explain? As long as you're not hurt. After soothing Jiang Meng, the man put away all his tenderness and looked at me indifferently. Are you full already? I ignored him and walked towards the Ferris wheel not far away. I heard that if you make a wish on the Ferris wheel on your birthday, the wish will definitely come true. Looking at my back, a flash of mockery appeared in Jiang Meng's eyes. She quickly pulled Zhu Jinyuan and followed. Wow, it's a Ferris wheel. Brother Jinyuan, I want to play on this too. Hearing the staff say that there were only the last 2 seats left, Zhu Jinyuan didn't even look at me and took Jiang Meng's hand and sat on it first. 20 minutes later, the man who returned to the ground searched the entire shopping mall but couldn't see me again. At 8 o'clock in the evening, I walked out of the bedroom carrying my luggage. I pressed a note with the words break up written on it under the key. I left without looking back. At 11 o'clock at night, my phone rang. It was a call from Zhu Jinyuan. I was chatting with my parents in the living room at that time and didn't see it. An hour later, the man called again. I dimmed the screen, turned off the phone, and went to sleep. I slept until noon the next day. After restarting my phone, I was surprised to find that there were more than a dozen missed calls. As if having a premonition, I opened WeChat. I saw that Zhu Jinyuan, who was always cold, had unexpectedly sent several messages in a row. What do the key and the note mean? So what if I forgot your birthday? Not answering the phone and not replying to messages. Is playing hard to get really that fun? Lin Chen, I give you 1 hour to get back here. Otherwise, don't come back ever. After seeing that the sending time of the last message was 3 hours ago, I let out a sigh of relief from the bottom of my heart, moved my fingers, and directly deleted Zhu Jinyuan. There was a knock on the door. After getting my permission, my mother brought in a glass of milk. Qianqian, you have a weak stomach. Drink it while it's still hot. Last night, I suddenly came home with my luggage. My parents didn't ask anything but took care of me and showed their concern as usual, hugging my mother's arm. I sniffled my sore nose and said, Mom, I've taken a fancy to a house. Although it's small, it's enough to shelter me from the wind and rain. My mother smiled and said, then buy it. How much money is still needed? Mom will make up the difference for you. Even though I smiled and shook my head, indicating that I had enough money, my mother still transferred 200,000 yuan to me. She said that a girl would truly have confidence with a house and savings. For this reason, I immediately made an appointment with the landlord to sign the contract next Monday. In the evening, my father not only cooked a table of delicious dishes but also bought a cream cake to make up for my birthday yesterday. Facing the lit birthday candles, I put my hands together and made a wish sincerely. I hoped that my parents would be healthy and everything would go well. However, not long after blowing out the candles, I received an unexpected message. To be exact, it was several messages from different people, but they all expressed the same meaning. My goodness, Qianqian. Congratulations on your successful long-term relationship. I will definitely come back from abroad to attend your wedding and give you a big red envelope. Lin Chen, I sincerely wish you and Jinyuan a happy marriage and an early birth of a precious child. Just as I was puzzled by these blessings that came like snowflakes, a WeChat pop-up window prompted that Zhu Jinyuan had applied to be my friend. Lin Chen, I announced the news that we are going to get married in my WeChat moments. You've achieved the goal you wanted. It's time for you to stop making a fuss. After seeing the word stop making a fuss, I really couldn't help but let out a sneer. Up to now, who on earth is the one acting unreasonably? Come to think of it, my mother once asked me to send her WeChat contact card to Zhu Jinyuan. The man had always turned a blind eye to it and never added her. Now that I think about it, I'm actually very grateful for his indifference. If this farce were to reach my mother's ears, it might give her a splitting headache for a whole night. After calming down for a while, I first replied to my friends who sent their blessings, informing them that Zhu Jinyuan and I had already broken up. Then, I posted a new update in my WeChat moments, which I hadn't used for a long time, and set it to be visible to even strangers. Don't believe or spread rumors. I'm single and have no boyfriend for now. Less than 2 minutes after this rumor-refuting update was posted, Zhu Jinyuan called. I didn't answer. However, the man persistently kept calling. I simply added his phone number to the blacklist. After the world returned to peace, I lay down on the soft and comfortable bedsheet, put on my headphones, and closed my eyes to listen to music. In the blink of an eye, it was Monday. After having the loving brunch cooked by my mother, I walked briskly and arrived at the housing transaction center on time. Just as I was about to sign the contract with Uncle Landlord, his phone suddenly rang. Seconds after answering the call, Uncle Landlord looked at me in surprise and hesitantly stuffed his phone into my hand. Miss Lin, this person is looking for you. I knew that Zhu Jinyuan had a wide network of contacts and strong abilities, but I never would have thought that the rational and indifferent man would go to such lengths just to make me answer his call. Finding a secluded corner, I couldn't bear it anymore and said, Zhu Jinyuan, aren't you annoying? Not expecting my tone to be so cold and impatient, after a moment of silence, the man asked me in a deep voice, Lin Chen, why did you tell others that you're single? Because it's the truth. Zhu Jinyuan sneered, leaving a key and a torn note means you're single again. Lin Chen, consider it my plea to you. As a woman approaching 30, can't you be more mature in your way of dealing with things? We're already engaged and will soon get married and have children as you wish. If you keep making such a fuss now, how will those classmates have the nerve to attend our wedding in the future? Holding my forehead and suppressing the urge to laugh, I said, there won't be a wedding. What do you mean by that? Zhu Jinyuan let out a cold snort. Could it be that you really want to break up with me? I lowered my eyes and replied firmly, yes, let's break up. The man didn't say anything more, listening to the background noise on his phone. I knew he was at the airport and about to board the plane, glancing at Uncle Landlord not far away, who was afraid that there would be changes in the house sale. I was about to hang up the phone when Ju Jinyuan softened his tone and spoke again. Lin Qian, I know you're angry because I forgot your birthday. I admit that it was my fault. When I bring Jiang Meng back from abroad after her treatment, I will definitely make it up to you. After listening to the man quietly, I said indifferently, you misunderstand, I'm not angry and don't need any compensation, you just need to know that I've broken up with you. After saying that, I hung up the phone and returned it to Uncle Landlord. I also told him that if that number called again, please block it directly. After signing the house purchase contract and going through the formalities, I soon got my own red property ownership certificate. After taking a photo as a souvenir, I immediately set off for the appointment with my friend. I had a great time and went home around 10 o'clock. I volunteered to go downstairs to walk the dog for my father. When I pushed open the access control glass door downstairs in the unit, a tall and familiar figure blocked my way. It was Ju Jinyuan, looking tired and dusty. Lin Qian, tightening the dog leash. I took a small step back with a tense expression. Don't come any closer. Stung by the indifference on my face, Ju Jinyuan frowned and approached despite my advice. He opened his mouth, about to say something, when my family's dog entered an attacking state, baring its teeth and growling at him. However, Ju Jinyuan seemed completely unaware of it and kept pressing me step by step until he cornered me. Against the light, he stared at me coldly without blinking. He said, let's have a good talk. I don't want any misunderstandings between us. I furrowed my brows. I have nothing to talk about with you. The man clenched his fist and leaned against the wall, trapping me firmly. Lin Qian, have you forgotten that we're about to get married? Do you think you can just send me away with a simple break-up? What do you take me for? Facing the man's gritted teeth questioning, I was so speechless that I didn't even bother to say a word. I tried to push him away twice but found that I couldn't move him at all. The dog barked like crazy to protect me, and its barking turned on several layers of corridor lights. Seeing that more and more people were gathering in the corridor of the community and not wanting to alarm my parents, I had to make some compromises. Half an hour later, in a 24-hour coffee shop, Ju Jinyuan stood at the counter and ordered 2 American black coffees. One of them was sugar-free and had extra ice. And he took the initiative to place it beside me. Lin Qian, you see, I actually remember your preferences. Hearing this, I couldn't help but blink. Since I was a child, whether it was my parents or my relatives and friends, they all knew that I was most afraid of bitterness. We only had black coffee at home purely because Ju Jinyuan liked it. As for the need for extra ice, it was because for me, the more ice there was, the lighter the sour and bitter taste of the coffee would be. In just 2 days, the man had somehow become much more talkative. Before I could respond, he continued talking to himself. I apologize for forgetting your birthday. I was so busy with work that I remembered the wrong date. I always thought it was next month, but actually, I had already bought the gift you like. As he spoke, the man took out a small exquisite velvet box from his trousers pocket. Seeing that I had no intention of opening it at all, he pursed his thin lips, opened the box on his own, and showed me a pair of sparkling and valuable crystal earrings. One day 2 years ago, Ju Jinyuan had casually promised me that he would pick a pair of crystal earrings suitable for formal banquets for me the next day. Now, he had finally fulfilled his promise. Unfortunately, I no longer needed them. Lin Qian, don't you want to try them on? Under Ju Jinyuan's expectant gaze, after a few seconds of silence, I finally picked up the pair of beautiful earrings that I no longer needed. However, I didn't put them on as the man expected. Instead, I weighed them in my palm, then turned my wrist and watched them fall and break. The broken crystal fragments splashed onto the cuffs of Ju Jinyuan's suit trousers. Only then did I belatedly notice that the man's calves were full of holes and bleeding wounds from being bitten and torn by the dog. I pretended not to see it and calmly raised my eyes, saying, the gift is ugly, and I don't like it. Is there anything else? If not, I'm leaving. The untouched coffee was squeezed until it overflowed. The man, who had always been extremely clean, didn't care at all about the coffee stains on his cuffs at this moment. He pressed his throbbing forehead and asked me with a half-smile, Lin Qian, how long are you going to keep pretending? You not only sent messages to threaten Jiang Meng to resign voluntarily, but you also deliberately chose the time when she urgently needed to go abroad for a heart surgery to break up with me. I can turn a blind eye to all these messy things you've done out of our past relationship and not pursue them. I just want to know what you really want now. Do you want to get married immediately? Sure, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau now and get the marriage certificate as soon as it's dawn. With a gloomy face, Zhu Jinyuan suddenly grabbed my arm and pulled me closer without asking. When our eyes met, the man was shocked to find that there was only coldness and alienation in my eyes. I shook off the man's hand with a look of disgust. I had no desire to explain or clarify the ridiculous slander that Jiang Meng had thrown at me to Zhu Jinyuan. I just said word by word, calmly, Zhu Jinyuan, I'll repeat it one last time, I've broken up with you, so please rest assured that I won't marry you. And I have no so-called demands that you've imagined. If we happen to meet at an alumni gathering in the future, just pretend you've never known me and don't come up to greet me. There was no hysterical accusation with a red face, nor were there any weak tears that would annoy him. He watched helplessly as I stood up and walked to the ordering counter, ordered 3 full sugar lattes, and took them all away. At this moment, there was finally an obvious look of anxiety and panic in Zhu Jinyuan's eyes that he couldn't hide. He chased out of the coffee shop and said to me with a pale face, Lin Qian, I was your first love. I looked at him leisurely. So what? You blushed when you confessed to me. You told me yourself that you had never liked someone so much. On the day of the graduation ceremony, we agreed that no matter what happened, we would be together for a lifetime. So, at this point, the man actually stuttered a bit. So, you can't just say we're breaking up because of a momentary emotional burnout. It's not fair to me. I was amused by him. Surely you don't really take those sweet words spoken casually during the passionate love period seriously, do you? The day after accepting Zhu Jinyuan's proposal, outside his office, I heard him comforting Jiang Meng, who was pretending to cry and wish him success in his engagement, saying, I don't really love Lin Qian, it's just that she's been clinging to me like a lapdog for too long. I have to give her something, otherwise she'll cry and make a scene everywhere. Zhu Jinyuan said he didn't love me. The funny thing was that now, when he heard me personally break my promise to him, the man was so devastated that his face turned as white as paper in an instant, and he stood there stunned. I raised my hand to hail a taxi. Just as I opened the car door, I heard Zhu Jinyuan give me an ultimatum in a cold and arrogant tone. Lin Qian, you know what kind of person I am. If you leave now, it's really over between us. Before the man could finish his words, I slammed the car door without looking back. A month passed in the blink of an eye. I was busy tidying up my new home and seizing every opportunity to look for a new job. Fortunately, with the blessing of fate, although the process was tortuous and arduous, I finally got my dream new home and an interesting job with a higher salary than before. As for Zhu Jinyuan, occasionally 1 or 2 mutual friends, either intentionally or unintentionally, would mention him to me. They said that he was getting busier and busier, so busy that he no longer had time to attend any social gatherings. He was so busy that he even forgot to delete the fake news that was still pinned in his WeChat moments, which read Zhu Jinyuan and Lin Qian are about to get married. I didn't show any reaction to this. My time and energy were limited and precious, and I wouldn't waste them on people and things that had become strangers to me. On a Friday evening at the beginning of the month, I rushed all the way against the evening rush hour traffic and finally managed to catch the 100-day celebration banquet for the daughter of my former college classmate. In the elegant and bright hotel banquet hall, I gave a pure gold longevity lock to the cute baby girl lying in my classmate's arms. I wished her a peaceful, happy, and smooth life in the future. During the banquet, several friends from the next table who I hadn't seen for a long time came over one by one to clink glasses with me and chat. The last person to come over was Jiyu Chuan. He was a junior from the law department who was 2 years younger than me. We got to know each other because I was the president of the debate club during college, and he was the vice president. When Jiyu Chuan left, he gave me 2 anti-alcohol candies, watching the man return to his original seat. My female classmate couldn't help but nudge my waist. Qian, to be honest, I didn't even think of inviting Jiyu Chuan to my daughter's 100-day celebration. After all, I'm not familiar with this big star in the legal field. He found my contact information through someone and directly asked me if you would come, before the 100-day celebration ended, I said goodbye and indicated that I was leaving first. Coincidentally, Ji Chuan was also about to leave, in the elevator. The handsome man who hadn't had a drop of alcohol said, "Lin Qian, let me give you a ride home." I narrowed my eyes and looked at him suspiciously, being overly attentive for no reason. After graduating for so many years, "You brat, don't you still want to seize power and become the president?" He couldn't help but cough softly and was about to respond to my joke when the elevator door on the basement floor opened automatically. Standing outside was a man who surprised me greatly, Zhu Jinyuan. "Why are you?" Before I could finish my sentence, the man, obviously filled with anger, walked into the elevator with a cold face, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me out of the elevator forcefully. Ignoring my struggles and resistance, Zhu Jinyuan, with a stern face, gritted his teeth and said to me, "Lin Qian, I declare that you've won. I'll agree to whatever request you make, as long as you stop deliberately giving me the cold shoulder and torturing me from now on." Hearing the word cold shoulder, I looked at Zhu Jinyuan with a puzzled expression. "Zhu Jinyuan, I'm asking you, can't you understand what I'm saying? How many times do I have to repeat that we've broken up before you'll let me go?" Even though I had said it so clearly, Zhu Jinyuan still ignored me and stared at me deeply for several seconds. Then he continued to hold my struggling right hand and, with a cold face and heart, tried to drag me into his silver car parked a few meters away. Seeing this, Ji Chuan rushed forward, quickly grabbed my other arm, and said indifferently, "Lin Qian doesn't want to go with you." Noticing that I was trying my best to move closer to Ji Chuan, Zhu Jinyuan's mouth tightened into a thin line. He asked Ji Chuan sarcastically, "You know that Lin Qian and I were about to get married, right? She has already accepted my proposal, and in a few days, she will be my wife. What right do you, an outsider, have to interfere in the affairs between me and my wife?" Ji Chuan clenched my hand, and before he could organize a retort, I, who was so angry with Zhu Jinyuan's brazenness that my mind went hot, already sneered and said to Zhu Jinyuan, "Ji Chuan is my boyfriend. My business is his business. As for you, a disgusting ex who keeps pestering me, where on earth do you get the nerve to bark at my boyfriend?" As soon as I finished speaking, Jiang Meng, wearing a hospital gown, got out of Zhu Jinyuan's car. She leaned pitifully by Zhu Jinyuan's side, batted her eyes, and insinuated at me, "Sister Lin Qian, not only were you photographed flirting with this man at the banquet just now, but now you're even hurting brother Jinyuan's heart like this for him. Could it be that you're really so fickle that you couldn't wait to hook up with another man in less than 2 months? My goodness, how could you be like this?" What a good use of the words fickle and couldn't wait. Not only did I accept Jiang Meng's sarcasm gracefully, but I was also extremely magnanimous as I said to Zhu Jinyuan, "Look how much Jiang Meng cares about you. To be honest, you two are a perfect match. I sincerely hope that you'll be happy and start a family soon." After hearing my blessing, which was as calm as still water and without any ripples, Zhu Jinyuan's face visibly turned very ugly. A flash of secret joy passed through Jiang Meng's eyes, her lips were slightly parted, and she was about to add fuel to the fire and continue to mock me. However, Zhu Jinyuan, who saw me standing with Ji Chuan, seemed to wake up from a dream and pushed her away unexpectedly. Jiang Meng's knee hit the rough ground and scraped the skin. She looked at Zhu Jinyuan in a daze as he rushed towards me and explained to me in an urgent tone he had never used before, "Lin Qian, Jiang Meng and I are definitely not in the sordid relationship you think we are. The reason she was in my car was that she fainted on the roadside of the company, so I had no choice but to take her to the hospital. I found it a bit ridiculous. What are you telling me this for?" Seeing that I didn't show any signs of being angry, Zhu Jinyuan obviously let out a sigh of relief. "Lin Qian, I just want you to know that from beginning to end, there's only you in my heart." Realizing that Zhu Jinyuan was reaching out to touch my cheek, Ji Chuan suddenly exerted force and pulled me into his arms. He looked at Zhu Jinyuan coldly and said, "Lin Qian is my girlfriend now. Please behave yourself." As soon as these words were spoken, before I could thank Ji Chuan with a look for his cooperation in the act, Zhu Jinyuan suddenly grabbed Ji Chuan's collar. His face turned pale, and he clenched his fist and punched over. Ji Chuan could have dodged this punch, but to take care of me in his arms, Ji Chuan stood his ground and took the blow, with a crisp slap sound. Following Zhu Jinyuan's angry punch, It resounded through the empty parking lot. Letting go of Ji Chuan and loosening his fist, Zhu Jinyuan, whose head was slapped to the side by me, remained motionless and silent for dozens of seconds. Finally, his eyes glazed over as he turned his head to look at me. He asked me, "Lin Qian, are you crazy?" In fact, there was no need to ask. Zhu Jinyuan had already firmly believed in his heart that I must be crazy. If I wasn't out of my mind, how could I, who had loved him for a full 8 years and had always been submissive, quiet, and sensible, have the audacity to hit him for an irrelevant man? It must be a dream. Just as Zhu Jinyuan was thinking this, he raised his eyes and saw me holding Ji Chuan's hand, interlocking our fingers, and asking Ji Chuan softly if it hurt and if he needed to go to the hospital. Zhu Jinyuan was completely stunned. In the man's eyes, which gradually turned red, there was full of incredulity and disbelief. Not giving up, Jiang Meng got up from the ground, no longer hiding the jealousy and hatred in her eyes. She pointed at me and cursed angrily, "You shameless slut. Brother Jinyuan wholeheartedly wanted to marry you. But it turns out that you've already been having an affair with this man behind his back." In the past, when Jiang Meng spread rumors and misrepresented facts in front of Zhu Jinyuan, I endured it for various reasons. Now, she blatantly slandered Ji Chuan as a male mistress right in front of me. With a light laugh, I quickly took off my right high-heeled shoe and walked menacingly in front of Jiang Meng. In the blink of an eye, I made a crazy move that no one present expected. Ah. With the dirty and dusty sole of the high-heeled shoe slapping her mouth wildly, Jiang Meng widened her eyes and instinctively wanted to step back. However, I had anticipated this and firmly grabbed her long hair to control her. Jiang Meng's foul mouth was quickly slapped, swollen and bruised by me. The pain was so unbearable that she howled and shed tears crazily. When I was teaching Jiang Meng a lesson with a cold face, Jiang Meng had tears in her eyes all the time and looked at Zhu Jinyuan pleadingly for help. The funny thing was that Zhu Jinyuan not only stood there motionless and let her cry and make a scene, adding to the drama on her own, after I threw her to the ground like trash, he couldn't wait to snatch the high-heeled shoe from my hand and half kneeled down, trying to put it on for me. "Lin Qian, don't be angry. I know you're definitely not the kind of woman Jiang Meng said you are. I finally understand. The reason we've become like this is all because Jiang Meng has been sowing discord between us. I promise you, I won't show any more mercy to her out of pity for her. I'll fire her as soon as I get back, okay, Qianqian? So, let's not break up, okay, Qianqian? I really know I was wrong." Glancing at Jiang Meng, who looked miserable and ashen-faced, I took off the other high-heeled shoe and threw it expressionlessly at Zhu Jinyuan's face. "Even if you fire 100 Jiang Mengs, it can't change the fact that we've already broken up." After saying this, I turned to leave, but my skirt hem was tugged. It was Zhu Jinyuan who grabbed me with a trembling hand. After knowing him for so many years, I had never seen him in such a lost and helpless state. "Don't leave. Can you tell me what I did wrong that you have to be so heartless and break up with me? Could it be that you're really with this man, Lin Qian? I don't believe you could be so cruel to me." I looked at him with disdain. "Let go of me." Shaking his head stubbornly, Zhu Jinyuan's voice was terribly hoarse. "Lin Qian, look at me. Unless you look into my eyes and tell me yourself that you don't love me anymore and that you love Ji Chuan, otherwise, I will never believe that you truly want to break up with me." As Zhu Jinyuan wished, I finally turned back and looked into his deep eyes, which had somehow turned scarlet and were so full of despair that they seemed about to shed tears. I said to him word by word, "Zhu Jinyuan, I really don't love you anymore. No matter who I love in the future, it will never be you. Do you understand?" His knees went weak, and Zhu Jinyuan knelt down in front of me without any dignity. He forced a stiff smile, which looked uglier than a cry, and said, "It doesn't matter, Lin Qian. As long as I love you, you cannot love me. As long as we don't break up, you can ask me to do anything, even kill someone." I said calmly, "I don't need your useless love. If you harass me again in the future, I'll call the police directly." Upon hearing this, Zhu Jinyuan blinked. Those bitter tears that had been accumulating for a long time welled up one after another. "Lin Qian, don't treat me like this. I know I shouldn't have been trampling on your sincerity and ignoring your kindness to me. Why can't you give me one last chance to atone for my sins? I swear, I will definitely let you see my change." interrupting the man's rambling in a crazed state. I only said, Ju Jinyuan, it's too late for everything. Under Ju Jinyuan's empty gaze that had lost its luster, I got into Ji Yuchuan's car and left. In the car, I apologized to Ji Yuchuan for using him as a shield on the spur of the moment and getting him beaten up. Ji Yuchuan just smiled indifferently. If you need this kind of help in the future, be sure to come to me first. After safely sending me downstairs in the community, Ji Yuchuan said again, Lin Qian, if Ju Jinyuan harasses you again, you can call me, no matter what time it is. I nodded and smiled, making an appointment with him to have a meal together when we were free next weekend. On an ordinary night a month later, I received a call from an unfamiliar landline number. It was Ju Jinyuan. He seemed to be ill, weak, and couldn't stop coughing from start to finish. Lin Qian, don't hang up the phone, I just want to ask you one question. Have you ever loved me? I didn't even raise my eyelids. No. After saying that, I hung up the phone, put down my phone, and continued watching the TV variety show. It wasn't until 2 days later that I learned from the classmate group that Ju Jinyuan had encountered arson at the company and was still lying in the hospital, his life hanging in the balance. The fire was set by Jiang Meng. Dissatisfied with being fired, Jiang Meng lost control of her emotions. She locked the company door with her half-dead sick body, wanting to die together with Ju Jinyuan. After seeing the case notice issued by the local police, the clerk smiled and said, "What bad luck." In front of the cinema, my murmur attracted the attention of Ji Yuchuan, who was buying tickets. "Qian, what did you just say? I didn't hear it clearly." "Nothing." I closed the classmate group, leaned over to look at Ji Yuchuan's phone, and asked him, "Did the tickets come out? What time did you buy?" "Yes, it comes out. The movie starts in half an hour. Just enough time to buy the milk tea you want to drink." Ji Yuchuan happily led me downstairs in the mall. On the way to buy milk tea, he also bought me some snacks and toys. He had so many bags in his hands that it didn't look like he was going to watch a movie but rather had just finished shopping for New Year's goods. After watching the movie and going down to the parking lot, Ji Yuchuan asked me to help him open the trunk and get something. I opened the trunk as he said, and I was not surprised to see the flowers and balloons he had prepared for a long time. The man was visibly very nervous. "Qian, would you like to be my girlfriend?" I smiled without hesitation and held his hand in return. Of course, life is long and full of twists and turns. Among the many twists and turns, there will always be the next him, the end.